Fingaz back with another episode of the Syncrets To Success podcast. This is episode 84, I believe. I think it's episode 84, and we're going to talk all about the journey of growth and transition. Before we get into that, I have a sale going on right now on the site, thefingers.com. If you are on Instagram, comment the word sample, and I'll send you to my website. Use the code college and you will get a discount on any of these sample packs or courses I have. These sold photos. Thank you for tuning in. Use the code college on my site, thefingers.com, and then click sample packs and use the code college for a discount on any of those because tomorrow in a few hours, we're going to be taking our daughter to college in Atlanta. And it's going to be exciting. You know, there's all this anxiety going to college, the journey of transition and growth, watching her grow up and sending her out into the not so, the world into the next step, the next journey in her life. Tomorrow is that big day. We will be taking her to college and spending some time in Atlanta this week, making sure she gets settled. And there's been, of course, a lot of emotions, happy, sad, all for the joyous occasion. You know, anxiety, separation anxiety, and of course, not knowing how things will be when my wife and I and our son return and our dog return home. After dropping our daughter off and then leaving her on campus, so a lot of feelings. But of course, this is a personal milestone that has inspired this episode of the podcast. If you're watching on Instagram, I have a podcast called Syncrets To Success on YouTube. You can check it out and check the links in the description on YouTube. If you're on Instagram, comment sample, you can check out a discount on, use the code college, use a discount on the sample packs and products and courses I have there. So for those who have gone to college, or even if you haven't gone to college, this is a major transition for someone. I remember forever ago when I went to college, just there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, but a lot of I'm out here ready to take on the world. I wasn't ready, but thinking I was ready, for that next step. And entering college from senior year of high school, you top person in high school, then you go to college. It's a whole different game. I went to James Madison University for undergrad. Yeah, it was a whole different grade. I was studying music, and I actually probably shouldn't have got into the school, but I got into the school. In that first semester, I really had to hustle hard to get up to the level of the other students because it was heavily based on classical music training, and I didn't really know. I took like 1 year classical music training. I knew enough to get into college, and that was about it. That first semester, I'm up 5 a.m., 6 a.m., going to the practice rooms early, hustling to catch up to other students because I wasn't at their level yet, and I had to catch up really fast. So going to college, like this represents growth, new opportunities and challenges. And I mentioned in a previous episode that, every, I would say 3 to 4 years, you should have a shift in your business. Circadian clock, thank you for tuning in. You should look to see if there's a shift in your business, your mindset, your mentality, because that's sort of what we are taught growing up in school, at least in the American school system. You have elementary school, which is like 5, 6 years, but then you have middle school. In some schools, that's in some states that's 2 years, some states that's 3 years, some states that's 4 years, and then you have high school, which is could be 3 or 4 years, and then you go to college, which again 3, 4 years, and then whatever you do after that, if you go to college. So you have this sort of 3 to 4 year transition every 3 or 4 years, and this is a political year. You have politics, the major politics every 4 years. Politics happens every year, so make sure you exercise your right to vote every year. But of course, you have the election, presidential election slated every 4 years. You have the Olympics. Summer Olympics are every 4 years, and then the Winter Olympics are every 4 years. It just so happens they're 2 years apart because of the way they're set. But yeah, so you get what I'm saying. There's these transitions, these things that happen, these milestones every 4 years. And when I think about how that can compare to our journey in sync licensing or trailer music or whatever, for me, it's music production music, whether you're just starting out or moving to a new phase, you want to see, are there new challenges that you can tackle in this industry? For me, trailer music has been a major challenge I wanted to approach 2 years ago, and started, learning about that. Manifest my blessing. Thank you for tuning in. That was a challenge I wanted to take on. And of course, with sync, there's different challenges almost every day. Different briefs, different styles of music, different deadlines. I actually got to work on a brief tonight. I'm just procrastinating, so I don't do it. Red Scorpion, thank you for tuning in. I'm procrastinating from doing this brief, but I got to do that, and then I got to go to sleep so that we can leave and take our daughter to college tomorrow. But there is a lot of unknowns. For example, taking the unknown future in her case is going to college. That involves stepping into the unknown, much like entering into production music and sync licensing, or sending your music out to a brief because you don't know what's going to happen with that. So, like with every new project, every new pitch every new partnership. I'm working on a huge um, show right now where I just reached out on Instagram to a bunch of people. It was such a niche thing that they want, but it's a huge show, huge property, and a lot of people responded and they're sending in material. And I'm like, this is sounding great, and I'm hoping to get it directly to the music supervisor because that's what I want to offer to these musicians that I collaborate with, to these creators. So when I'm finding people, they have to put their trust in me. I have to put their trust in them, and just figuring out, who can you find that's trustworthy. So when you go out to these places, even when I travel, to get in the car with a stranger, like an Uber driver, trust that they're going to take you to your destination. Trust that when you get to the destination, it's going to be what you think it's going to be. Whether it's you're staying at a hotel or Airbnb, and then you're going to a conference. Like there's a lot of like risk involved with that, but no risk, no reward. High risk, high reward. And just you're going to uncharted territory. Like I've been asked to do some events later this year, one in Canada, one in San Francisco. So hopefully all that comes through. Um, but our daughter, she's going to college tomorrow, so that's going to be a new uncharted territory for the next 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, however long she will be there for college, and that's like. Um, that's going to be scary. It's going to be joyous. Of course, the first few weeks on both sides, on her side and on our side, are going to be a little different. We got to adjust. Um, and is there much you can do to prepare? That you have 18 years to prepare. Yeah, kids for college. If you have kids, I know some people don't have kids, but even if you went to college, choosing the what you think might be the right school. Our daughter's going to an HBCU, so there's pride in that. She's going to a school in Atlanta, a huge black community down there, so there's pride in that. Um, and of course, packing up, saying goodbye. We're going to be down there all week, celebrating everything. Um, but the research that goes into that, even looking for money for scholarships is very similar to looking for, sync opportunities or music opportunities. Um, Trying to tailor my music to specific needs, staying organized, making sure that now that I got the project done, I got to send the stems out, I got to send the briefs out. That's almost like doing the homework. Thank you, PG Audio Work says, wishing you the best for your family. Thank you, appreciate that. So yeah, it's definitely a transition period. And just as my wife and I, as parents, hope that our children, we have a son also who'll be going to college in 2 years. So yeah, so we're just preparing to mentally. But just as us as parents, we hope that our children will thrive in college and build a foundation for their future. Us as music creators, we hope that our tracks will find the right homes in films and TV and commercials and trailers and video games and social media and wherever they, find multiple homes actually, especially if it's not exclusive, you can pitch it to a bunch of places. Um, so for us, we got to make sure we have a long-term vision for our music career and that we're making strategic decisions to build a sustainable future. Just like for those who like went to school, you don't even have to go to school. Like I'm still taking, I did go to college, but I literally just finished a trailer music course 3 months ago. I do like one course a year. So I did a trailer music course last year, did another one this year. I've done some sync licensing training and courses. So always be ready to learn, always be open to learning. Um, and of course, when they're traveling, like with like going to college is very similar to when I go to these conferences. You have these new environments, especially if you're going to like California. I live in DC or DC area. Going to California, going to New York, going to LA, going to Miami, going to Atlanta. You're seeing new people. You have this new level of independence. That Kim, thank you for tuning in. Bradford, thank you for tuning in. I'm just right now. I'm just going, crazy. But new challenges, new people, new level of independence that you can face. When you're preparing yourself to go to these things and do these things. Uh, and then you also have the unknowns, the rejection. I'm sending briefs out every day, or sending music out, two briefs almost every day, and not everything gets accepted. There's a lot of competition in some spaces. Even if it's not a lot, there's really high quality competition. I was up for a big trailer at the end of last year, and I saw it come out recently. I'm like, yeah, now I know why I didn't get it because the music on that trailer is insane. And we have to keep adapting to industry changes. We have the threat or the promise or the enhancement of AI. We have, whatever's going on. The strike has still affected the industries in many ways. Coda, thanks for tuning in. We have the strikes that happen. Um, so, of course, you got COVID. So the last couple of years, just with sync and trailer music, maybe it hasn't been, the best. But my goal when I started the sync journey was to get briefs every day. And I'm definitely getting briefs every day, but I work with like 40 libraries. So way too many libraries to work with or that I've done work for in the past 2 years. if you can handle it, like honestly, I focus on maybe like 5 to 10 libraries total, including sync and trailers. But there's so much that opportunities out there that we just need to find them, and we have to be resilient. Halfway house records, thank you for tuning in. We have to be resilient and adaptable in both our life and sync journeys. So as parents, especially my wife has been providing the guidance and support that our daughter has needed as we prepare to take her to college this week to navigate her college career, her college life. Just like but I felt like my role has sort of adapted to in the sync space, taking on and supporting others as they have questions about sync or questions about projects. And I don't have all the answers, but I provide what I can, or I bring them into my Facebook group. We now have a community of almost 3,000 people in the Facebook group that started about a year ago after panels. I'm doing panels at NAM, AES, South by Southwest. Hopefully, vote for my South by Southwest panel. But yeah, doing panels and setting up panels for all these major conferences and independent conferences around the world. So taking sort of a not a parent role, but like a guidance role. And when I go to these conferences, I'm looking to learn too. I'm not just up on stage. I'm like asking questions. I'm asking these people anyway, because if I can have a one-on-one conversation with the music supervisor for a big show, I'm going to ask them these questions. So why not have that conversation on the big stage in front of people around the world? Coda Corvette says you were sharing gems at NAM and it's helped me navigate. Appreciate it. In fact, this week, if I can get it up tonight, pause. I want to get the second. If you missed the panel, I helped with like 5 panels this year, but 3 of them I hosted and organized on Sync. The first panel is up. You can watch that if you comment the word NAM1, all one word, NAMM, and the number 1 all together. I will send you a link to check out that first panel, and I'm gonna hope if I get that second panel up tonight, you can comment NAM2, and I'll get that second panel up for you to watch, and then I'll do the third panel later this year. So stay tuned. Yeah, the NAM is going to be incredible next year too. Hopefully, it's going to be less time, so hopefully they let me do 1 or 2 ideas I want to do there. So going to these conferences help to build those networks, those relationships. Just like going to college, you want to build relationships, business and partnerships that'll help you. Or help our daughter go to that next level. So, of course, I'm seeing the parallels. I always see a parallel between life and music. And of course, while we're down there, definitely checking out an event or 2. But the focus is going to be moving her in, especially those first few days, moving her in, getting her settled down there. So whether it's through collaborations, mentorship, sharing knowledge with others at conferences online, there's a bunch of online meetups and conferences. There's at least 1 a week in the sync space and music production space. There's at least 1 conference a month, either virtual or in person. There's one this weekend. Guild of Music Supervisors in LA has the Music and Media Conference. I probably would be out there if we weren't taking a dollar to college. There's PMC at the end of September. There's SyncCon. I think GMS does something else by the end of the year. I might be doing a conference in San Francisco by the end of the year. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for us as music creators. And we just have to figure out a way to have our passions align with the things of life, if that can happen as well. So yeah, of course, we are excited. We are anticipating, Noisy Brainer, thank you for tuning in, anticipating taking our daughter to college at Spelman, the Spelman College in Atlanta, heading out tomorrow to drive down. And yeah, gonna be enjoying this week, getting her settled in. Excited for this next chapter in her life and this next chapter for our family as a whole. And just excited for my future in the sync world. A lot of great things have been happening recently. I haven't been talking about it because I can't talk about it. In sync and trailers, new projects, new collaborations, new opportunities. Coda Corvette, I think I just saw your name on something, right, on the project. Yeah, so there's going to be some great things, and just figuring out my lane with these music supervisors, these sync libraries, sync agents, working on the projects. I used to get upset when I didn't have time to work on a project or submit to a brief, especially if it's like 5 figures, 4 figures, 5, even some 6 figures. And then one library told me a long time ago, and I've said this before on previous episodes. A library told me a long time ago, you don't have to pitch for everything. You don't have to submit for everything if you don't have it, because there will always be more. And hopefully that'll be the case. At least, yeah, hopefully there will always be more. And of course, I've seen those briefs, the high figure briefs, getting custom requests on the trailer side from some big trailer libraries and trying to knock those out. And not in record time, but because with life, like I try to knock things out, fast. And sometimes you got to take your time. All right, let me see. There's a question here. PG says, any tips on finding libraries that offer advances? They'll come to you when you're ready. So I just started working with a new library that does offer an advance, and sometimes they don't offer that to all composers. In this particular case, it's a high end library, and I didn't know they did that, and they told me they did once I joined them, and I actually did a couple of projects for them without that advance. And then they started offering it. So sometimes you might have to just be in there. There's some libraries that pay some composers in advance and not others. That's why when you ask composers like what libraries pay advances, technically, well, one, they shouldn't tell you because most of the ones that pay advances have you sign an agreement that says you won't tell people. Um, and then two, they don't have the same treatment for all the composers. So even if a library pays composer A in advance, they might not pay you if you just join them today in advance, as opposed to the one that's been with them for 5, 10 years. So just keep that in mind. Luckily, this library that I'm starting to get is a new library, but I reached out to them months ago, and yeah, so there's a couple out there. Finding them is like finding a holy grail. And advances can be anywhere from a couple hundred to um, probably not more than a couple hundred. I've seen a couple hundred. And then even some might pay a demo fee or kill fee. So it just depends on the agreement. So definitely, it's really just put yourself out there. You might even be able to ask ChatGPT if people have put that stuff out there, but it's very hard. Um, I wouldn't ask composers like what library specifically, but finding them, it's usually they find you. Now, what I do is when I'm approaching a library, or if a library approaches me, I ask them, especially if they are exclusive, I ask them, do they pay in advance or some type of demo fee? Um, but I'm getting to the point now where there's different levels to sync. So definitely getting to the point now where I focus more on the libraries that do send me briefs where there's an advance. I'm definitely gonna consider dropping what everything else I'm working on to work with them. So there's that. All right. I think that's. I mean, any other questions? I'll feel free to drop them. But yeah, just really, this is a weird episode, but just anxiety of what's about to happen with life tomorrow. Um, uh, but if you have life experiences that you want to share, drop them in the comments. Transitions in music career. Obviously, the pandemic affected a lot of people who were doing concerts and live performances where they had to shift, and a lot of people got into sync. I got into sync because I was playing in church. Pandemic hit, church went virtual. Some things happened on that end that I can talk about in another episode. That I realized I wasn't as appreciated in the church space as I believed I was up until the pandemic, and yeah, so. Started focusing on sync, trailer music, family, because church took a lot of time away from family, and here we are taking our daughter to college. All right, I don't know what the next episode is going to be, but these aren't frequent; they're just periodic now. But this is episode 84, I believe, of the Syncrets To Success podcast. My goal is to get to 100 episodes. When I get to 100 episodes, I want to bring these episodes from YouTube over to what is Spotify. Podcasts, Amazon, whatever those podcast platforms are, Apple Podcasts, and all that. PG says, "Thank you. That's helpful." Yep, no problem, no problem. Appreciate it. So I'm gonna end it this way. Definitely, my wife and I, Brian, thank you for tuning in. My wife and I are super proud of our daughter and the exciting journey she's about to embark on. We are taking her to college in a couple hours. I need to go to sleep. We're going down to Atlanta. We drop her off in college. Later this week, and then we'll be hanging out down there to get her settled in. Shout out to Spelman College. Shout out to her future, the friends that she'll be making, and shout out to growth and journey through life. So yeah, definitely appreciate this opportunity. For those who watch this crazy video, whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube or Instagram, I'll probably leave it up on all those platforms. But thank you for watching in the journey as I document it on these platforms. And reflect on life as life just approaches too quickly and goes by too fast. But definitely consider how things in life. I try to view things from a positive lens, overly optimistic view on life, possibly to the detriment of some situations. But how can things in life parallel what you're working on for your passion? So for me, I'm like, okay, is there a musical angle here? Is there if we go to Atlanta, for a week, can I go to an event and then use that as a tax write-off for music? So there's a lot of business things, try to mix business with pleasure and family and fun. So embrace the journey of life. I'm embracing the journey of sync licensing. I'm embracing the journey of movie trailer music. I'm embracing the journey of conferences and event hosts. Speaking of which, if you know any brands that want to be a sponsor for a lot of these conferences. A lot of these conferences seek sponsors where you can buy out a stage for an hour or for the whole week, and you can present whatever panels you want. And of course, I can help you with the panels. Let's talk big brands, small brands, but you got to have a budget, of course, to take advantage of this opportunity. But I can help you get your brand on stages in front of hundreds of people or thousands of people. So, yeah. That is one of the things I offer as well, in addition to the music. So, yeah, building this personal brand, music, event host, event management, all kinds of things. So, comment the word sample if you're on Instagram. If you're on YouTube or LinkedIn, check the links in the description. Use the word college at my site, defingers.com/sample packs or defingers.com/sample hyphen packs, I think it is. Use the word college. You can get a discount all this week on any of the courses or sample packs that I have on that site this week only. That goes away on Saturday. So comment sample, go to the site, use the word college as you check out, and check that out. Thank you all for tuning in. Pew Domino, and Isaiah Malik Moon. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, about to end this. I gotta work on a sync thing tonight, and then gotta pack up our clothes. Our daughter's stuff is packed up, and then yeah, head out to Atlanta. So I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to go live or anything this week. I might schedule some posts tonight, actually, or throughout the week. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, be safe and be well, everyone. Enjoy the journey of life as it will move on, whether you want it to or not. Be safe and be well. All right. All right. Peace.